Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to have a little chat about Prospect, about the history, about your role, what you think of the nominees. So without further ado, so how did you initially get involved in Prospect? How many years have you been doing Prospect?
This is my first time. This is my first Prospect experience.
Yeah.
I first met Ethan, for those who don't know, who's the person largely behind a lot of what Prospect's all about. I first met him, strangely enough, at the bodega, and we actually took part in a music quiz together, at which we won.
Oh,
Which
no.
obviously formed our bond incredibly strong. I run like a race awareness platform called Black Friends, which uses podcasts and articles and various other mediums to kind of get people in Nottingham thinking and talking about race and the way it shapes the world around us.
Yeah.
And alongside, like, kind of under that alias, I last year at Hockley Hustle, I had like a Black Friends stage where I had like predominantly like black artists based in Nottingham.
Yeah.
So I think based on the fact that me and Ethan have bonded over music before, and obviously I have links with putting on musical acts in the city and champion like Nottingham's culture.
What do you think makes Prospect stand out from other music award shows?
I think, to be honest, I guess it gives a voice to people that are just sort of making their way in the industry. People who've just kind of like got over that hurdle of maybe they've got that like hallowed record deal. They've finally sort of made it in a sense, but in a way, their work is just kind of beginning, really. They're
Definitely.
beginning their journey. So I think it's really interesting because you get to see people when they're still in that sort of micro sort of scale where they've just started out, they've just got a deal behind potentially, and you see them sort of in that incubation stage. As a judge, it opens my eyes to like new kind of music that I maybe don't listen to, which is great.
Yeah, I think so as well, yeah. Because it's focusing on the upcoming talent rather than the already established talent. What have you been listening to during the lockdown? Because obviously music probably plays a big part of a lot of people's life in lockdown.
For some reason, I started listening to like loads of dad rock. I don't know why. I've been listening to loads
That's
of
not
like
embarrassing.
the first
That's
time.
cool.
Well, I guess it's probably sort of it's cool. Actually, no, it's cool. It's actually really
It's cool. We'll stick with
really sophisticated. You've been listening to loads of Crosby, Stills and Nash. Don't know why. Just got really into it. And then aside from like the dad rock, like that, and like Dire Straits and just like Supertramp. I don't know why. I just I've been really into that kind of sound. It's quite funny.
Nice.
And then alongside that, I've listened to a lot of like Nancy Sinatra, that Lee Hazelwood style, like chamber pop, like 60s music with like big string arrangements, kind of Phil Spector kind of stuff. And then more recently, like a lot of Timber Tombra, who's an artist I've followed for years, I really like. And I've listened to a bit of Gorillaz as well, actually, because I know they've had their new Song Machine thing going on throughout lockdown. So, and Gorillaz are one of those bands that obviously most people absolutely love. And since Plastic Beach, I got really excited for their last, like, Humans, and that kind of, the singles were great, and the album dropped, and I was a bit like, oh, this is all right. And then Now came out. I kind of didn't really listen to that, and then I listened to the first couple of tracks off this Song Machine thing when they were coming out, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of like, this is quite good. Everyone that knows me knows that I'm in love with Damon Albarn. I think he's a genius. He's the greatest living British songwriter for me personally. So I'm excited that they've actually released something that's kind of pretty good, stands alone on itself as a good project. So that's kind of the gist of what I've been listening to. Dad rock and Gorillaz.
So obviously with COVID and the lockdown and everything to do with that, the music industry especially has taken quite a big hit. Do you think that next year, because obviously there's talk of the vaccine and talk of things getting better, do you think next year that the music industry will bounce back pretty quickly? Like everybody will be going out to festivals and gigs and there'll be like a big surge in improvement, or do you think it will take a while to sort of come back?
I think it will be probably the latter, a slow return.
You think?
Or I guess I want to say like a slow return to normal, but it's not like we're ever really going to be returning to normal, I feel, after this, because I've already seen like various countries around at least I've seen in the EU, have trialled different methods of letting people back. I think it will, even though there is talk of the vaccine and a lot of news is breaking about that and how that will be potentially, but I think it probably will be quite a slow transfer back or into something new.
Yeah.
But personally, I think the music industry will still survive. I think it's important to point out that, you know, every technological or social challenge that has faced music has always bounced back, especially the music industry side of it. When you think of, like, you know, the internet, for example, when that first started to become huge in the late 90s, there was all this worry about like peer-to-peer sharing, you know, and the music industry since has responded by kind of jumping on that bandwagon. You look at things like Spotify, you know, and Apple Music now. Music always mirrors the society that so I think it will some way, maybe slowly at first, but it will live on successfully. One hopes anyway.
No, I agree. I think there'll probably be like a bit of caution with some people, especially going back to big live shows. I think there'll be like a little bit of caution there, but I think, was it like Rock City or Rescue Rooms or a lot of like smaller venues around the country and stuff who were doing like seated shows and stuff like that. So I think that's definitely like an option that might be popular as well. Sticking with the same theme, obviously smaller artists and smaller venues have been hit especially hard. What do you think that the public can do to support their local scene, or like a small band that really relies on sort of like local shows and gigging around the country to sort of make their money? What do you think that people can do to support that?
The biggest thing you could do, really, I guess, if you take the point of view of like a small independent band, is sharing their profiles and what they have and their music on your social media, because obviously at the moment, without being able to gig and whatnot, one of the only ways that really bands can get their music out there or their profiles out there is obviously using the internet to their advantage. And that's obviously something that bands do a lot now anyway, because of the way that, you know, we access our music, as I said before, largely through streaming. But I think the main way to support local bands is to really share and talk about music in a public online space. That's the best way you can really support your local venue. If there is a band that have released a little EP and they're charging, you know, like a couple of quid for it, buy it. You know, if it's a friend of yours, buy their record. Because that's the way you're really going to help, you know, these small venues or these small sort of bands. That's what I would say. Share the goodwill.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like, people underestimate how much of an impact posting on social media can do, or like saying to, like, in a group chat of a bunch of your friends, like, hey, I just found this really cool new band and I really like them, maybe you'll like them as well. I think word of mouth is like a really underrated marketing tool that I think especially now can be like utilized really well. Going into 2021, what genre of music would you personally love to see on the radios, topping the charts?
I don't know, I feel like, to be honest, it's not like I could say like I'd want to see one particular genre like make a, you know, kind of dominate the charts. I feel like if you asked me that question when I was maybe a bit younger and a bit more narrow-minded, I'd have been like, indie music's got to be on top all the time. Do you know what I mean? But now I'm kind of like, people always speak about this, but this idea of like genres and stuff, to a certain extent, you don't want to get too tied down with one genre being at the top. I think for me, what I'd love to see is more maybe just artists that are pure and have a pure soul, and that when they, you know, when they perform and when you hear their song, you can, you know, see their artistry. You know, when you think of someone that already comes to mind, like Amy Winehouse, I'd like to see more artists like that when they burst onto the scene, just everyone is blown away by them. And, you know, someone like Adele, or I think people sometimes get a bit lost in the fact I think people look back in previous decades or eras and go, oh, we don't have any true musicians anymore. Oh, it's all auto-tune. Oh, it's all really bad. But actually, if you know where to look, you'll find that. And it's just, I think if there's a bridge between those people who do have a pure soul and voice and the charts, if there can just be a bridge made between those two, then that is what I would like to see in 2021. Out
of all of the past Prospect nominees that there's ever been throughout the years, who stands out to you the most? Who is your favourite?
To be honest, for many of the reasons that I've just spoke about in my last answer, I would probably say Arlo Parks. I don't know if people watching this or listening to this are familiar with her music, but she is an absolute diamond in the rough. The kind of person that when you, I guess her big sort of hit at the moment is this song called Her, and it's one of those tracks that you can't, I don't think it's possible for anybody to hear like the opening 30 seconds and instantly not kind of be like, who is this? What is this? You know what I mean? The lyrics, the voice, they kind of transcend that barrier between, you know, the audience and the performer, and you instantly feel like you're in her shoes, or she is speaking directly to you. It's that weird talent of being able to write lyrics that are at once both like universal but also seem really specific to your life. So yeah, I would say Arlo Parks for me. I think she's already becoming quite an up and coming talent, but I think over the next couple of years she's going to explode.
Yeah, I think she really deserves it as well. She's really great. So if you could choose one song title to sum up 2020, what would you choose?
American Idiot. So no, this
why did
no reason to explain that.
Such an obvious one. Yeah, such an obvious one. That's a good song as well. So if you could describe this year's nominees list in one word, what would you pick?
It's funny because I was thinking about a word. I was going to say infectious, but then I was like, God, don't use that word.
Yeah, not the right time period for that.
Bad PR. So hypnotic is the word I would use to describe this year's list. Yeah, a lot of head nods from me. A lot of hypnotic head nodding from me. Listen to this playlist.
Right, we're going to do a quick fire round. Are you ready?
I don't know. We'll find out. Is this going to be really Freudian? Like, are you going to find out some weird things about my psyche?
Yeah, I'm going to write down all your answers and pop or rock?
Oh, rock. Oh,
Toast or cereal?
Toast.
Intimate gig or stadium show?
Intimate gig.
Loud or quiet?
Quiet.
Pub or club?
Pub. I'm getting old now.
Old music or new music?
New.
Spotify or Apple Music?
Spotify.
Christmas or New Year?
Christmas. I hate New Year.
Yes, Christmas award. Right.
Yeah.
You passed the quickfire test. Congratulations.
I passed. Oh, did it? Oh, thank God.
Moving on to the final segment of this chat, I'm going to ask you to write down who you think out of all of the prospect nominees for this year, who you think is going to win. But obviously, like, don't show anyone, don't tell anyone. It's got to be secret.
This is really hard. I feel like there's like, in my mind, there's like, it's probably like 3 or 4 people I would suspect.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for the safe option with who I'm writing down.
Playing it safe.
I feel like there's a couple more risky, well, not risky, that's not the right word, but other people I would put forward. But I think maybe this person. Yeah, okay, I've written it down.
Right, cool. You've got to keep that safe.
Okay.
Not show it to anyone.
Okay, cool. I'll keep this safe.
Nice.
Sweet.
So, that's it. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks very much for coming to chat today. It's been really
it's all right. Oh, yeah, I've enjoyed it. Normally, I like interview people for stuff, so it's nice to be on the other side.
You're on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people?
Hello? I don't know.
Hello, people.